That'd be great.
All right. Cool. Yeah, I was just planning on like just sort of showing you like what I do in certain cases, and like specifically just giving you like a walkthrough of like where everything lives in the console. Yeah, and maybe just like tips and tricks, I guess. There's not a whole lot, to be honest, but yeah, anyway. So console.cloud.google.com is the URL. And all of this sort of applies to either dev or prod, but for reference, for the people who have prod access, that's the name of the project, Nexus PRD, and then the dev one is the one that has all the review apps and things like that. And then we actually have a third one which has other random stuff in it unrelated to Platypus, but we won't look at that one. All right, so I guess first things first, you probably want to pin stuff here because it's like impossible to find things quickly if you're like scrolling through this list. I think you can also search for them at the top, but you kind of need to know what they're called. So I just pin everything here. I find it's easier to find what I want. So yeah, let's start with a cluster. So it's just the one cluster in this project at the moment. Nexus Dev GitLab CI cluster. And you can generally just go straight to services and ingress, because that's, if you're looking for like your particular review app and like why it's failing, this is kind of like the easiest way to find those logs. So the kind of annoying thing about the way that GitLab does review apps is that it actually like chops off the end of the branch name when it creates the services. So you want to look for like whatever the closest one is to yours. Like you can see here, there's obviously a couple of branches, 3 branches that were named the same or very similar. So they had like review feed commit at the start. So it might be hard to find exactly the one that you're looking for in this case. But generally, I think if you look in the like CI logs, you might see some of that information there. So for example, I think it's actually part of the URL as well. So let's have a look at, say, let's have a look at this one. Yeah. So we've got this view app here. Yeah, so if you look at this one, right, that's got the exact same like prepended service ID there. So that could be the way to like work out exactly which service pertains to your MR. So if we take a look at this one exactly, P4NDWR.
Yeah, it cuts off a lot of it. It adds like review, and then it's just, yeah, wow.
Yeah, it just lops off like half the thing.
You almost want to name it like the really important word immediately at the
beginning. At the start? Yeah, we might. I mean, that's probably a good idea, right? Like, I sort of use. I mean, review is, we can't remove that, but everything after that, like feed, for example, like maybe we just want to change that and just start putting in exactly what it is there, right? Anyway, the one that you want to look at usually is the auto deploy one. There's generally 3 with every service, so with every deployment. So there's a PostgreSQL one and then a headless Postgres. I don't know what the difference is, but the auto deploy is the actual app pod, or app service. So if we look at that one, so yeah, like if it fails to deploy properly, you'll see like you'll see here like something other than okay. It'll probably say like, you know, it's in a crash loop, back off or something like that. If it didn't deploy properly, that's generally what happens if the app doesn't launch properly the first time the pod or the service gets deployed. Because if it launches properly the first time and then like a subsequent commit makes it break, when the deploy happens, it'll generally roll back to the last working version, so it'll be still okay. So sort of, I guess take this status with a grain of salt, because it might not be the status of the version you're trying to deploy. It might be the status of the rollback version. So you still want to look at the logs at that point anyway.
What would be the way that we could tell if it's a rollback version that's running?
I think, let me see. I think it has a version somewhere. I actually don't know. So if you look, for example, at your MR, right? Or at the CI/CD for that branch, maybe, then you could see like how many deploys you've tried to do. So
like mine there failed. I'm just trying to figure out how to find it as well, but we can look at it after.
Yeah, so what's this one called? Commit hooks 3. Okay, so if we filter the pipelines by commit hooks 3, yeah, so you can see like the first time, oh sorry, which one's the first one? Yeah, this is the first one. So the first time that Camille deployed this, it failed. And then the second time it passed. So, I mean, that might be one way of seeing whether it's the first time or not. There's probably a way in Kubernetes to see it as well. I'm just not that good at it. So, yeah. If you find a good way to do it, let me know.
Yeah, Daniel, I can't find mine. So I have one that's called feature add whitelist to validation pipe. And I can't seem to find it in the.
Okay, did it ever deploy successfully?
It says with warning. It looks like
that was the one with the
end-to-end
test failed. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and then I can't see. Clicking on here, I mean, I can see a little bit of information within GitLab, but it doesn't show me too much.
So it is deployed because the app is opening.
Yeah, so the app works, of course. I think it's just.
So say we grab. Yeah, let's grab that there, so we can filter here by that.
Oh, you're viewing the app. I was wondering where you got that link. Okay.
So view up. I didn't find it. Why didn't it find it? Review feed valid. Valid. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, it's for some reason it doesn't search. Oh, because I put too much stuff on the front. My bad. There you go. Okay, so if you don't need the whole thing. You just need the review part onwards. Yeah. So there is an auto deploy for that here.
Yeah, it's on here, and this wasn't too readable.
Yeah, so it is a good way to find the logs, but I find this is really hard to read properly and to like use. So if you click on the View in Logs Explorer, that'll apply the right filters to the like GCP logging service. So if you look at the filters here, this is like pre-done for you based on what you clicked on the service that you were looking at. So it has a bunch of stuff here that's like pointless because you don't need all of this. But if you looked at, like this one, these labels down here.
There's some errors, I guess 7 looks like.
Yeah, so on this thing, it's kind of easy to find the errors and when they happen, or you can just click on the error filter and I will show you those there. So these errors here are actually just normal. This happens when the pod gets seek termed when it's upgrading to a new version. So you see these in prod as well. I don't know a nice way to get rid of them, but sometimes, if the app fails to start or whatever, you'll get all the logs about why it didn't, what exception happened or whatever that caused it. So yeah, that's kind of how you get to the logs.
So if you were in here and you're trying to find, if you're like me, trying to figure out what was the error during the test.
That's a bit different. Yeah, that's a bit different.
I don't think the E2E test would show up here. That should be in the
right.
Okay, it should just show up right here. Okay, that's what I thought. So I was looking here, but I found there's at least some information. But
yeah, so this runs on the like GitLab CI runners. So you'll just have to go directly to the job to find the logs. But yeah, this is
this shows up here. Okay.
Reading this can be a real pain in the ass, to be honest. But let's see.
At least in my case, it's pretty simple. So okay.
I feel like that's honestly most CI pipelines. Like going through the logs it's a whole bunch no matter where you are. Circle, GitHub Actions, GitLab, it all.
Yeah.
AWS logs. Whew. It's all bad.
So yeah, this is your error here. So you expected 201, it got 400. So there were two tests. There were two tests here that failed.
Yep. Okay. I just didn't know if there's some more information anywhere else, but this is great. Okay.
Yes.
I would bet it has something this is for your whitelist validation, right?
Yep.
I'd bet there's something being passed in that's being stripped out.
Yep, pretty sure.
Cool. So any questions on like the logs side of things? No.
Yeah,
I think this lets us know how to get there and how to run through things. It's interesting with the regular logs that the JSON's being split up over multiple lines instead of just on a single line.
Do you know if there's a way to make that better?
So if you can fix that, that'd be great.
I mean, I could promote my own personal logger that I use that actually does JSON logging, but Pinot should be doing this by default.
Pinot should be doing it. Yeah.
That's why I'm really confused.
Yeah. So this is the thing, right? So GCP logs supports either JSON payloads or text payloads, right? So for some reason, the Pinot logger is, or Pinot logger, is it called? I think it's Pinot logger, right?
Pinot. I honestly don't know.
I think it's like Pinot, like pine cones, because it's got a tree or something. Anyway, so it looks like it's taking the like raw string, like it's stringifying that JSON first, and then it's like doing line by line logging on this, which is just totally annoying. Because what it should be doing is a JSON payload with the entire of this in that one log line. So if anyone knows how to fix that, I think it only applies to the request, like the request logging, right? I think our custom logs are working fine.
Oh, one moment. Go hold there. Go back up just a little bit. That is this looks like it might be from the test, doesn't it? Because it's got that undefined request complete.
The tests one wouldn't come up here.
That's what I'm really confused about. I thought it wouldn't either.
If you, I just posted a link. It looks like, I guess a lot of people run into this and they just kind of change something, the way they try to log things, basically.
Yeah, it's like fully customizable.
For example, using Winston and just kind of just stringifying it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I just coached the configuration of Pinot logger. So I'll open an issue.
Someone literally said, yeah, if we have an object with 100 lines, it creates a 100-line output, which is impossible to read. And you can't group it. Yep.
Yeah, no, that should be a single line output for JSON string.
Yeah,
because this is like almost useless. You can't even like comprehend it, right?
Yeah, it's super hard to read. Okay, cool. Yeah, and then that should make, like, if we get that right, that should make filtering a lot easier as well. So like you should be able to do things like JSON payload dot, and then like if you actually had a JSON payload, it'll actually like allow you to filter by specific fields on that object. So you'd be able to do like, give me all the ones from this IP address or something like that if you wanted to look for a specific problem, right, for a specific person. And there's like a whole bunch of docs on how to use this. Here we go, learn. So if you want to learn more about it, go and have a look at this stuff. All right, all good with that for now? Yep. All right, so the next one, what do I want to show next? So where is it? Memory store. Okay, so we do have a Redis store, which is shared among all of the review apps. What is going on? That's not what I wanted to open. Can you please go to the thing? Okay. So this is our Redis cluster. There's nothing really to see here, honestly, but just so you know that it's there. And then the main difference between like prod and dev is that in dev, there is no like managed SQL. It's just every single instance, every single like service gets its own Postgres. Hold on, I have to let the cat out.
He's got a cat. Nice.
It's a friend of, yeah, we're in like my sister-in-law's apartment, and her housemate has a cat. So
Oh, that's great.
yeah. So there's no managed SQL in the dev environment, but there is in prod. So I mean, this applies less to you both, but this applies to Dominic. So just like, so you know, Dominic, how things are set up. There is this separate SQL instance. Now connecting to this is not great at the moment. Basically, you have to add your like home network here in the allowed list of networks before you can access it, basically. Ideally, we want to have like a proper way to do this through, I mean, we don't originally wanted to use a Bastion host, but apparently there's a proper way to do it through the Cloud SQL proxy features, which we haven't properly set up.
Okay.
So I'm kind of waiting on IT ops to be more free to be able to do that for us. But yeah, that's this database here, and for staging actually has its own database within the Kubernetes cluster. So that's more like the dev environment. Probably we should make staging closer to prod's setup, but I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. And then in prod, all of this is in a VPC. So it's not like super complicated compared to dev. It's just a tiny bit more complicated. So this one has the cluster on the VPC, and then we have VPC network peering set up to be able to connect to the Redis instance and the SQL, managed SQL instances as well. Yeah, so any questions about that?
Not about that. But should I have access to prod by now, or like I don't know what the status?
I don't think they've. Yeah, I don't think they've actioned it yet. I'll follow up on that. I will probably record a separate video for like how to connect to this, because I don't want to like share it too broadly. So, but I'll show you how to like set up the connection for the SQL instance, and how to like run queries and stuff against it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, we have like a little bit of time. So is there anything else that you all want to go and look at or learn more about?
I don't think so. I think the build stuff was mainly the big one for now.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure there's lots of other cool stuff in here. Unless there's something else you use, pretty often that kind of helps you.
Not really. I mean, I'm mostly coming here. Oh, actually, I can show you. So there is for the people who use Mac OS. Actually, I don't know if this is available on other platforms. So there's this app called Lens. Let me switch my screen share. My Finder just crashed, and now I can't screen share. I'll just share the whole screen. All right. Can you see this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is an app called Lens, which is like kind of like a front end for K8s, which is like the more fully featured K8s CLI tool. So this is pretty like useful as well if you don't want to like log into the GCP console every single time.
Mm-hmm.
And this, you just have to set up like a service account connection in GCP, but on your local machine, and then it'll like kind of give you a full view into your clusters as well. And this can be useful for finding logs as well, because you can just go and like find pods,
really cool,
and click on them, and then you'll get, actually, let's pick one. Right. Let me do a better job of this. Do they have services? Yeah, services. Why can't I see everything? Auto deploy. Okay, so this is a service which is deployed. at the moment. It's deployed. There's no like cleanup by the looks of things, so we just have like a whole lot of garbage in here. Okay, this is less useful than I thought it was going to be. Let's go back to pods. Back off, restarting failed container. Crash loop back off. So like this one, you can click pod logs and then see like what happened. So this is one that failed to start.
At least the logs look good in here.
Yeah, they look a lot, yeah, because these are getting like, these are the ones straight out of Kubernetes. So they're just like the system logs, basically. It's just a text
So this is
file.
a free app, it's just called Lens, right?
Yeah, it's just called Lens. I don't know if it's got like
Oh,
apps
Google
for other,
Lens? Is it Google Lens or
no.
they have one, of course. Oh, that's something else. I remember that.
K8s,
Lens, the Kubernetes
lens.dev.
IDE, right?
Yeah,
Okay, I see.
let's see what they have. Okay, they do have Linux and Windows. So yeah, I would check
Yeah,
this one out.
I was just gonna
check
say
this
like,
one
oh
out.
man, I'm gonna use this. This is perfect. The logs and
Let me check it in the architecture chat.
it might
yeah,
be
let
nice
me,
for us to fix those logs just so they do render
Yeah.
properly for
Yeah.
Google Cloud if it's ever a production issue, things like that.
yeah, I'll open an issue for that. And we can look
Not sure how
into
we
it.
test it, I guess.
I think it all
mean,
depends on how the log is being shown locally. Like if it's
Yeah.
being spit out over multiple lines, and that's already kind of a problem for up in the cloud.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
looked like our pretty print is just based on the app env variable.
Yeah,
So we can do some local testing on that.
Yeah. And just open an MR. I just thought about that. Yeah. And boom, open it up and like, oh, there it is.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you can just run some test requests to get the logs to generate. So
Or just wait
Oh.
for the unleash logs because those show up
Yeah.
30 seconds or something.
yeah, constantly. I actually kind of want to filter them out. I don't find them that useful. I'm considering just turning them off, to be honest, if we can. We don't really use feature flags that much yet or at all yet. I see us using it in the future, but yeah, we don't use them that much now. So probably not super useful to have those logs there right now.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Daniel. This was great.
Yeah, this
Cool.
is really good to see. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Whereas, yeah, let me know if there's anything else that you like run into. We can do like some short videos as well on those. I'll take this recording and I'll put it in actually I might upload it to YouTube because we have like a public YouTube at work. So I'll check it on there and then I'll put it in our handbook as well so that future people can look at it.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Cool.